Man with a grease gun in his hand poured into his mouth. But it's not oil, but water. In the future world, Earth's water resources are becoming increasingly scarce. If you want to drink water, you have to go to a water filling station. Like oil, you pay for water. The price of water is even more expensive than the price of oil. People at the bottom cannot afford to buy water, so they can only rely on alcohol to quench their thirst. Owen with his son. His daughter lives in a converted container house. Although they have a lot of land, but because of the lack of water, the good land is gradually turning into wasteland. The only way to fill their stomachs is with some semi-processed food. This is how they get the water they need. Owen and his son would travel long distances every day to deliver supplies to the nearby water plant workers to make ends meet with such odd jobs. When he had time, Owen would get close to the owner. He hoped that the water plant would develop a water source near his home in the wasteland, but Owen had no extra money to bribe him. Each time, the other party would refuse. One day on the way home, the donkey carrying the supplies fell to the ground because of the chronic lack of water. The donkey was at the end of its life in this poor and diseased land. In order to reduce the suffering of the donkey, Owen shot the donkey. But without the donkey, Owen's work could not continue. He had no choice but to go to the market of the town and buy a used donkey at a high price. On the way back, the two men came to the water station to buy a bucket of water. Owen was so thirsty, picked up a grease gun and put it in his mouth. The price of this small sip of water is up to 100 yuan, but even though his pockets were empty, Owen saw the couple on the side of the road with their children begging for water, but still kindly give them some. Shortly after returning home, his daughter's new boyfriend, David, came flying in. This time he wanted to borrow the donkey that Owen had just bought. But Owen saw David's face of disbelief and disgust and decisively refused him, and stopped his daughter Annie from going out with him. A few days later, Owen found that the locked warehouse had been broken into. When he opened the door, the donkey that was inside was gone. Remembering that David had asked him to borrow the donkey, Owen thought that he must have stolen the donkey, so he found David's father. He was told that David had left early in the morning to make a delivery. It was obvious that David was the one who stole it. Owen grabs his gun and heads to the waterworks to get his machine back, but when he got to the mountain, he was attacked and passed out. Women actually wash dishes with sand. In the future, the Earth's water supply has been extremely scarce. If you want to drink water, you have to go to a water refilling station. The price of water is more expensive than oil. In order to make money, Owen bought a machine donkey used to transport supplies to the water plant workers, but never thought that only the second day was stolen. To get it back, Owen went to the mountains, but suddenly he was attacked and knocked out. When he woke up again, he was surrounded by a group of strong men with knives. These people were the workers of the water factory. They questioned Owen about why he was using the donkey to smuggle away their supplies. Owen couldn't argue that his donkey had already been stolen, but the workers did not believe him and even punched and kicked him. Luckily, Owen had some kung fu. He grabbed the workers' daggers and escaped from the siege. At dawn, Owen found David, who was still sleeping. Then he tied him up. He took him with a donkey and prepared to return the supplies he had stolen to the workers in the field to prove his innocence. But the heat and the long journey had left them both severely dehydrated. In David's persuasion, Owen agreed to stop for a short rest and kindly give him to loosen the rope. But David took advantage of Owen's inattention. He used a stone to knock him out. Then he grabbed a strong drink and poured Owen until he was dehydrated by the liquor. The two siblings were devastated by the death of their father. David blames the robot donkey for Owen's death. Without knowing it, the two of them foolishly scolded Donkey without Owen to stop him. David successfully married Annie and inherited Owen's land. In order to keep the land from falling into disuse, David went to the water factory and found the owner. Take out the dagger with the name of the boss and threaten him to exploit the water in the direction of the wasteland. Otherwise, he would accuse him of killing Owen, because it so happened that the two had a conflict that day, so everyone would believe it. In this case, he could only secretly agree to David. Soon the water was diverted to the wasteland. Under David's careful cultivation, new green shoots sprouted from the land. Wheat also soon grew ears of wheat. Looking at the golden wheat field, David was very happy. He finally fulfilled his wish, but it didn't take long for the bank to hear about it. They claimed that Owen had previously mortgaged the land. Now they wanted the land back. Seeing the fruit he had just planted, David would not let go. In order to redeem the land, he went back to the wrong way. He took his friend's child and sold it to a human trafficker. Not only did he take the child, but he shot his friend to death to keep it a secret. David escaped in time, and the machine donkey in the gun battle was beaten with a lot of holes. The system almost collapsed. The survival function allows it to start the return process and limp back to the machine shop. The boss saw the number on the name tag, called and contacted Owen's son. When the factory was repairing the machine donkey, found that he was also equipped with a recorder, can see everything that happened before. This is the intelligent robot donkey of the future world. He was shot into a funnel in a gun battle just now. It turned on the automatic return program. The factory manager contacted Owen's son Jack through the information on the name tag. When he arrived at the factory, he asked David to check the recorder to find the cause of the accident. Jack watched the video carefully. He saw the happy smile on his father's face when he was alive, but as the video played, Jack saw the image of David's father's murder. This makes Jack cannot believe the man who killed his father had been with him all along. He also saw the process of David framing his friend. Jack's hatred grew. When he returned home, David did not intend to tell his sister the truth. Instead, he began to prepare his revenge plan alone. He first wrote a letter to David in the tone of David's friend's handwriting, saying that he was not dead. He asked him to bring some food to the mountain to meet him. David was half-hearted but afraid of being exposed, so he went to the mountain according to the location of the letter. But one accidentally stepped into the trap set by Jack and broke his right leg. He howled in pain. Just then, Jack appeared above him with a cold face.
Can you help me, please? Can you help me out?
Seeing the stone in David's hand, David understood that Jack already knew the truth of the matter. He started to play pity again, trying to make Jack's heart soften, forgive himself for the sake of his sister. But no matter how much he pleaded, Jack is indifferent. Then he directly raised his gun to avenge his father's death, and then to cover up the revenge, David deleted the video of the robot donkey. Then he took him back to his home. As the wheat ripened in the fields, Jack also took responsibility for the family, and his sister Annie accepted the fact that David had left. After the two of them managed, the vast land also gave a good return, and life was happy. This is the end of the story. A cruel but perfect story. Good and evil coexist forever in human beings. Good and evil will be rewarded in the end.